Hello, and welcome to the Albany Institute of History and Art, where we're open Wednesday through Sunday, as always. Hi, I'm Ron Ross, the front desk guy. I've greeted many of you before, and I hope to see all of you very soon. For now, please join me in enjoying our first virtual gala and Artful Evening. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to welcome everyone to our first Artful Evening at the Albany Institute for History and Art. I am Deborah Grosbeck-Bennett, and my husband and I, John, are co-chairs of this event. And it will be our only event this year, combining the gala and the work of art. So thank you so much for joining us in this fundraising event. The Albany Institute of History and Art is very important to me. My family history goes back to the 1600s, the Dutch side, the Grosbeck name, and so it is dear to my heart, and that is why I am so involved here. I would like you all to join us for our wonderful evening. We have a lot of great plans, and please enjoy and participate in our auction and also in our preservation and education fundraising, and help us continue to keep this wonderful organization alive. Thank you.
And Deborah and I are just thrilled to be part of this event. And I want to thank you for allowing us to be part of this event. Our family has lived here and grown up here in the Capital Region, and we're very proud of our history and tradition. And so we hope you all have a great evening. Thank you.
Good evening. Live from the Christine and George R. Hurst Gallery at the Albany Institute of History and Art, I'm Michael Tucker, the chair of the Albany Institute Board. Joining me this evening to welcome you is our executive director, Tamis Groft. We are in the gallery surrounded by our Hudson River School collection, and we wished you all were here with us this evening. We are very grateful that you have joined us online to celebrate the rich cultural landscape of our region and the important role that the Albany Institute has played in promoting the region since 1791, in simpler times when George Washington was our president. As you know, this year we have combined our two signature events, our Museum Gala and our inaugural and Artful Evening, and we sincerely appreciate your support as all of us, together with our families, friends, and neighbors, continue to navigate these uncharted times, staying safe and remaining protected. I would like to begin by offering a special thanks to Deborah Grosbeck-Bennett and Dr. John Bennett, our honorary co-chairs for this evening's event, and who welcomed us along with our self-proclaimed front desk guy, Ron Ross, just a few minutes ago. As we gather tonight, whether we're on site here at the museum or enjoying the evening virtually in our living rooms, our mantra continues: at the museum, for the museum. For the next 30 minutes or so, we will share a selection of wonderful pre-recorded videos from our honorees, highlights from our award-winning educational programs and our collection preservation projects. We will feature a silent auction of works by contemporary artists, continuing the Institute's support of our vibrant community of regional artists, and the proceeds from the art auction will be shared between our regional artists and the Institute. In addition to our art auction, we invite you to make a contribution to help us reach our goal of $40,000 to support the Institute's many endeavors during these fiscally challenging times. Your contributions will help us reimagine education programs, support collection preservation, and prepare for the future, enabling the Institute to continue to fulfill our mission of connecting people to people, people to history, and both in person and virtually. As the second oldest museum in the United States, the Albany Institute is an acknowledged leader in the field of best practices in collections, preservation, and educational programming. We house more than 35,000 objects, 1 million documents in our library, and we are at the crossroads of culture, influencing the arts and history of our region, our state, and our nation. In 2020, we certainly have showed our adaptability, our flexibility, our nimbleness, and our capacity to meet our audience wherever you may be. While the museum was closed to the public from mid-March to the end of July, during this time, Tamis and her incredible staff worked remotely, developing, producing, and implementing our Museum at Home initiative to encourage curiosity and creativity during these difficult times. The staff launched new blogs, created online programs, exhibitions, projects, contests, and added some moments of reflection with hashtag Museum Memento Zen posts as our nation faced the realities and need to focus on diversity and inclusion. Since we reopened on July 25th, we have welcomed over 2,000 visitors, all socially distant, with the staff taking extra precaution for the personal safety of our guests. They visited to see 4 new exhibitions, and we continue to host virtual programs for those who are not yet comfortable to come to the museum. We invite all of you to come when you're comfortable and to visit again and enjoy the arts and cultural assets that we have. And we thank everyone who stayed the course with us and stayed connected with us during these many months. I'm happy to report that 27 corporations have stepped up to the plate to support an artful evening this evening, and the Albany Institute in History and Art. Special thanks to Austin and Company, Inc. and Omni Development Company, Inc. We are grateful to all of our sponsors and honorary committee members whose names are listed in the invitation, the program that was attached to your email with your Zoom link, as well as electronically tonight while you were waiting for the program to start. And I also want to thank our board and associates, and Tamis and her incredibly talented staff, along with our donors, our members, our patrons, and all who visit the Albany Institute. We could not have sustained our energy, our efforts, or our purpose without your engagement over these last 9 months. With all that has gone on during the last 9 months, we would be remiss if we didn't take a moment this evening to reflect and remember a community laureate, a generous patron of the Albany Institute, Matthew Bender. I know you join me in reaching out to Phoebe, their children, and their family as we reflect on the great life and times of our friend, Matt Bender. Tonight, we are thrilled to honor Peter and Rosemarie Tenig of Indian Ladder Farms as our 2020 Museum Gala honorees, and Amy Biancoli, most recently, the longtime art and culture reporter for the Times-Union, as our 2020 Work of Art honoree. Special thanks and indeed congratulations to Congressman Paul Tonko on his re-election, but also for graciously providing us with congressional certificates for our honorees this evening. To begin our celebration, Peter and Rose Marie Tennick have long been friends and supporters of the museum, dating back to the late 70s and early 80s. Over the years, their interests have included donating to the museum's collection and supporting our library and research programs. They're also what we affectionately call here at the museum regulars, because they come to see all of our new exhibits, attend most of our programs on site and now virtually. Peter joined the board of trustees in 1995 and was instrumental in helping the museum build the wonderful new facility which connected our Rice House and museum building, which opened in 2001. I served on the board at that time with Peter, and I always enjoyed when he'd bring us apples and cider donuts this time of year. Peter also served as chair of the museum's collection committee for many years, and he and his family are best known for operating the Indian Ladder Farm, founded in 1916, and we are proud to have many objects related to the region, the farm, and the Tennick family in our collection. Running the family farm now in the hands of the 11th generation are Peter's and Rosemarie's daughter, Laura, and son, Peter. I understand from Peter and Rosemarie that their family tonight has joined them at home to join in the celebration of honoring their parents this evening. And I ask you all to give a big wave to the Tennick family out in Voorheesville. Rosemarie holds a doctorate in linguistics, is an experienced traveler who has visited exotic places around the world, and she now is retired, and I guess has described herself as being surrounded by apple trees and Tennicks. I now ask you to join me in watching a video of Peter and Rosemarie that was filmed earlier at the farm.
Hi, we're Pete and Rosemarie tonight, and we're big fans of the Albany Institute. And when the Institute first moved to Albany in 1791, the oldest museum in the state of New York and one of the oldest in the entire nation. And at that point, my family had been living here for over 5 generations at that point. And so over the years, we're pleased to have a place to take various papers and objects and things that have been owned by the family. My brother John and I can contribute them to the Institute, and they have a safe way to be stored, and they can be investigated and talked about and observed by people. And a good example of that is the silver, family silver. The Institute has acquired some Tennick silver, which we don't have a single piece. But we still have did have the account book taken from Coonrad Tennick and his son Jacob, who were both silversmiths for 2 generations. And it's the oldest silver ledger in the country. So we not only have the objects, but we know who ordered them, who bought them, and how much they paid for it. So the last couple of several generations of the family have been involved in the business of raising food and apples. And so unfortunately, even though I've started the dialogue with the Institute, it does not look as though there's going to be any refrigerated storage space for any of the latest generation of things that the family's doing. So we'll have to make do with that. It's the Albany Institute of History and Art. And so in modern times, there's been the art to be appreciated, right, Rosemarie?
Yes.
And that this idea of showing the leadership the Institute has in terms of local artists, and local paintings and sculptures and things of this type, and then even buying a couple of them and keeping them in the collection has been a real leadership in the community discussing art. One of the things that I really like at the Institute, along with Rosemarie, is Arianchi Queemans. Full-length portrait, beautiful lady that didn't marry until she was 51 years old and married a man 23 years younger than she was a force in the community back in the early 1700s. So the pink luster label, the pink luster apple that's in your little bag is a brand new apple variety just named this month. And I've been cooperating with Cornell University and have had it growing here for probably 7 or 8 years. And nobody else has it. And so you'll be the first kid on your block to try a pink luster apple. And hopefully when the nurseries bud and plant the trees in 2 or 3 years, it'll be something we'll find in the stores that we can all appreciate and enjoy.
Good evening. My name is Tamis Croft. I'm the executive director here at the Albany Institute. And like Michael, I wish you were all here joining us in the galleries for the gala. But on the other hand, I think we're all getting much better and used to having these virtual events and sitting at home in the comfort of our home with our glass of wine and cocktail or whatever. But I must admit, I will look forward to the time that we're all back in the galleries celebrating the Albany Institute of History and Art. Before I introduce Amy Biancoli, I just wanted to tip my hat to Peter and Rosemarie. When Peter chaired the collections committee at the Albany Institute, I was the chief curator, and I have many fond memories of Peter coming to the meetings in Ever the Farmer with his boots and outdoor gear and sitting down and regaling us with stories. And the stories were all about the weather. How is the weather treating the apples? Is it too hot? Is it too cold? Is it too windy? And then, of course, there were the bees. And were the bees behaving? And they, too, were very involved in the weather and they, of course, were key to whether the apple production went on that year. And then finally, Peter, over the years, would talk about the new apples that they were growing. So and before that, there were many, but now we're talking about the pink luster, which Peter mentioned earlier. So always exciting times at the Institute. So now I am very, very excited to be able to talk about Amy Biancoli as our Work of Art honoree. I have had the great pleasure of working with Amy for almost a decade as she was a writer for the Times-Union. And Amy has consistently and enthusiastically really promoted the richness of the art in our region. And I remember talking to Amy and, we were talking about the region, and she told me that she's traveled to many other communities and other cities, and she's constantly amazed of what we have here in terms of diverse arts for our community. So that was always a very exciting piece. So speaking on behalf of the museums, the performers, the writers, the poets, the musicians, the dancers, the filmmakers, in our region, we are just very grateful, Amy, to your thoughtful and meaningful coverage of the arts. And speaking of, on behalf of everyone here in the room, or at home, as we would say, art enthusiasts, art patrons, members, and consumer of the arts, thank you, Amy, for telling us such insightful stories about the region where we live. So without your reporting, we may not know about all of these wonderful art activities. And while Amy has moved on, as she said, to a new beat, to write for a not-for-profit webzine called Mad in America, to cover important mental health issues, which Amy is very passionate about. We're incredibly lucky because she's going to stay in the region. She's still going to be writing books. She's going to be fiddling whenever she has that opportunity, hopefully writing about the arts in a different formats. And I'm, very excited about Amy being our honoree. And I invite you to really listen to Amy talk about the arts, the importance of the arts to her. And I think you'll all find the importance of the arts to all of us.
Hello, everybody, and thank you. I'm standing here at the Empire State Plaza, which is one of my favorite spots in the Capital Region. And behind me is one of my favorite pieces of art in the Capital Region, a George Rickey sculpture, the Spinning Needles. And over the years, whenever friends and family have come to Albany for the first time, we've gone on a grand tour, and we always come here. Their response is they always go over and they stand directly underneath the needles and look up, waiting to see if they get impaled. And I always love seeing all the emotions flit across their faces, including surprise and wonder. And I understand that because I've always regarded the arts around here with surprise and wonder. I am hugely honored, almost beyond words, to receive this recognition from the Albany Institute of History and Art and from the wider, hugely rich and diverse arts community that I've been blessed to cover all these years. I often said I had the best beat at the Times Union. I say it again now. It was just a privilege to talk to artists, arts organizations, hear them articulate their dreams, their visions, what they wanted to do for their community, their art, and their hope. Because to me, art is about hope. You can't have art without hope. But I also think sometimes you can't have hope without art, because art shows us what it means to be human, ultimately. It inspires us to grow and to learn. And that's something else I always said about my work, is that as a journalist, I get paid to learn. I got paid to have these extraordinary conversations with so many people over the years, and each one was a window into their lives. And each one was an opportunity to hear a voice that needs to be heard. So I thank you again, all of you, not only for this honor, but for the art that you do. Because as you press forward creating, you're showing us the way with hope, with those visions for a future. And again, thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Congratulations. Thank you, Peter and Rosemarie. Congratulations, and thank you all three for the support that you have provided not only to the Albany Institute and our mission of art, culture, and history, but also all you have done for our region. The next part of our program highlights some of our popular mission-based programs: preservation of our collection, a reimagined art studio, and our junior interpreter program. And as if we have not asked you for enough, by joining us this evening as a sponsor, as an honorary committee member, or as a guest, or when we ask you throughout the year for support, I would hope that you would consider an online contribution in support of the programs we're going to introduce. The preservation of collections often happens behind the scenes. We use hundreds of boxes and acid-free materials to safely house our collections. Also, the importance of conservation of paintings and objects and library materials for exhibition and research programs. The other mission-based program is our education programs. This year, we are asking your help to reimagine our art studio. As part of Arts for All, a program that we offer free with museum admission on Saturdays, guests receive clever and entertaining art kits with instructions, materials, and templates. And last but not least, one of our most popular programs is our Junior Interpreter Program. The program trains high school students to put their own spin on interactive gallery tours, teaching local youth skills and leadership and arts appreciation. And so I hope you enjoy videos that give you a little more background on these three programs. And again, we appreciate and thank you for your support.
Hi, I'm Hannah Cox, the Archivist Librarian for the Albany Institute of History and Art. As an archivist, part of my job is to preserve materials by minimizing the deterioration, damage, and loss of information. As with human illnesses, prevention is better than a cure. It is always better and less expensive to keep problems from occurring in the first place, rather than trying later to fix the damage done. The collection I'm currently processing is the Albany City and County War Council records, which is a World War II collection of Albany homefront activities. The collection needs to be rehoused into new acid-free folders and put into acid-free Hollinger boxes. There are also many rusty paper clips and stick pins, all of which will be removed as they are damaging to the collection. Finally, a finding aid will be created, which tells the researcher about the collection and what box and folder they can expect to find certain kinds of information. This is an important step in preservation, so we know exactly what the collection holds and the location of its contents. Once that is complete, the collection is available for use.
Hi, I'm Diane Shuchuk, curator at the Albany Institute. Today, I'm giving a glimpse into one of my favorite places, collection storage. But instead of just showing you another pretty dress, I'm highlighting a man's waistcoat made in France in the late 18th century. We are lucky to have 9 18th century waistcoats in our collection. We store them in archival boxes, 3 to a box, separated by acid-free tissue. One of the nicest examples is this satin one, embroidered with insects. Delicate silk floss was used to create the caterpillars, moths, and spiders that are scattered on the front. Ladybugs decorate the band across each pocket, and tiny snails crawl across the buttonholes. The waistcoat was donated to the museum in 1912, and I know that if it could talk, it would say thank you to all of you for supporting the museum. So we continue to care for amazing objects like this, so they survive for another 200 years.
Hi, I'm Doug McCombs, Chief Curator at the Albany Institute of History and Art. And today I'm going to talk just a little bit about conservation, which is an important part of preserving our objects for future generations. In 2019, the Williamstown Art Conservation Center received a large grant to conserve 31 of our earliest Hudson Valley portraits, including this 300-year-old portrait of Ariantia Queensver Plank, a woman who lives south of Albany. When this painting went to the laboratory in Williamstown, raking light and UV light indicated that there were large areas of overpaint, specifically around the necklace. When we look at the necklace before it went through conservation, we see beads that were rather coarse, large. After conservation, removing that old overpaint resulted in very fine beads that probably represent gold or possibly amber. The other area that I want to point out are large areas of overpaint along the seams. Because the portrait is so large, several pieces of canvas had to be stitched together. In later conservation, areas of overpaint were used to kind of smooth those, but we know that that's not correct. And today, after removing that old paint, we see the seam which is more pronounced, but that's how visitors to Arianti's house in the early 18th century would have seen the portrait.
I started my work at the museum through my parents who got me interested in the art program, and I later decided to come back as a junior interpreter because I love the museum's exhibits and projects. The museum is why I've grown and learned so much, and it means a lot to me.
Hi, my name is John Ezra, and I'm currently an intern at the Albany Institute of History and Art. So I started off going through the program when I was a junior in high school. And back then, I was very shy and introverted, and I still am. But I think going through the program, it's really helped build my skills. So, personally, to me, the junior interpreter program is really important, and it's made such an impact on not only my life, but so many other people's lives, not just interpreters, but also the people who are mentoring them and people like you, hopefully, think that too as well. So, yeah, thank you for listening to what I have to say, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you. I'd ask now that you just imagine that you are actually at the Albany Institute for this event. And as we've done in years past, there's a card on your table where you can check off which of these programs you would like to support. So just close your eyes for a moment and imagine that. And we understand from the staff here that we have been doing very, very well. You've been very, very generous and provided great number and dollars in contributions. For those of you who may be as technically challenged as I am, if you did not pre-register or go online during these videos, feel free to call Tamis tomorrow and she'll send me over to pick up the check. As we end our program, I'd like to thank everyone who joined us tonight. We hope you enjoyed our virtual and artful evening. Special thanks again to our co-chairs, Deborah and John Bennett, our event committee, as well as congratulations to our honorees, Peter and Rosemary Tanike and Amy Biancali. Among the many things we've had to reimagine here at the museum is presenting virtual programs. So special thanks to Peter Stenshorn, Director of Interpretation, and Victoria Waldron, Educational Assistant, who worked on all of the videos for tonight's program, for our technical consultants and assistants here this evening, and to all of our staff, especially to Hannah, Doug, and Diane, who appeared in the videos. I now thank you and turn you over to Tamis to explain the cocktail hour and the dinner program. Thank you again. We certainly appreciate your support and commitment to the Albany Institute of History and Art. Thank you.
So, well, Michael, thank you very much for all of your remarks. Thank you to everyone who's going to be joining us. I am going to start by telling you more about the artwork that we have on view, and then I will talk about cocktails and dinner. And I hope the last video you see that you enjoy tonight will encourage you to bid on art. We are featuring 42 works by 30 artists tonight, and many people have said to me, oh, well, you know, I don't have any more wall space, you know, I have too much art, and I think that's a good thing to have, but I just want to tell everybody, we've specifically selected very small miniature pieces. They're just wonderful so that there'll be great opportunities to find places for this artwork. The art has been on view for about a week here. It's also available online, and as Mike said, you can call me, you can call Ron, and we will figure out how all of you can bid on it. And the good news is the artwork will be on view or available, excuse me. The artwork will be available to bid on until noon on Friday. So I think, and I also want to just tell you, following the so now I'm going to go on, actually. I'm going to go on to telling you a little bit about our cocktails and dinner. So for those of you who want to continue the party with us tonight, after the video, there'll be a very short break, and then you will be magically transported into the cocktail rooms. And these are Zoom rooms. They're going to be a little bit smaller. The staff will be there along with board members and committee members. And we have a few questions and things to tell you that will keep the party going. And that'll be for about 30 minutes. And then after cocktails, if you would like to continue partying here at the Albany Institute, we again will magically transform you to the dining rooms to continue that. And that should be about 30 minutes, just to give you a little bit more time with us. And I hope to see you all tonight. But I also want to remind you that the Albany Institute is open. We're open our regular hours. The museum shop is open. Our cafe is open. And we just opened a wonderful collection of new exhibits, including the Broadside exhibition and also the conservation exhibition, highlighting how the 18th century Hudson Valley portraits were conserved, like Arianchi-Queemans. And then we also have the Mohawk Hudson Regional exhibition on the main floor and a sound art exhibition. And if you like contemporary art, Patrick created 30 artist videos by artists who are part of the exhibition that you can see online. So there's certainly a lot here to see, and I welcome you all back to the Albany Institute. And thank you for all of your donations and being with us tonight. So we'll see you soon. So welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a very nice Zoom cocktails. I was in one of the rooms and we talked about a whole variety of things, including what kind of cocktails people were enjoying, art in the room. We talked about the idea of, well, and the more common refrain is, I don't have any more wall space. And so I let everybody know at my house, what I do is I have nails in the walls that are fairly well placed so that I can change my art out. So I don't have to change the nails in the wall. So that means you have to really think when you buy art and you hang the art in your home, think about the fact that in a year or so, or 6 months, depending on how long you want to change it, you can just take one painting off a wall and put another one up. So that was among the many things that we talked about in the cocktail hour. One thing we didn't get to was the Albany history crossword puzzle. But I think that that is, I think most of you have those, and it's pretty good. I do crosswords all the time, so there were a few I didn't know, so I was stumped a little bit. And I've also just gotten a report, and I want to thank everybody for your donations to the museum. Many of you have mastered the online giving and been able to bid on things and give to the Albany Institute. And remember, if you're having any trouble, you'll know I'm going to suggest that everybody starts with Ron, and then Ron will help you and send you off to the right person. Excited about the money we've raised so far tonight, and I think are getting almost $20,000. So we're very appreciative of that. And and also, so it's a combination of both helping the programs of the Albany Institute as well as the artwork. So I also asked people if they've been to other virtual galas. This is a new experience, and I hope everybody is enjoying this. We did talk about the fact that it'll be great to be back together again, but we also talked about some of the positive things that have come out of what we've all been going through for the last 4 to 5 months. And some of those really positive things is being able to do things virtually and connect with people around the world for music, for art, for dance lessons, for yoga, and that we've all become conversant in using Zoom and that type of thing. I also commented, I wish I had thought about buying Zoom stock. That would have been a good idea. And I'm surprised, and I know there are other options, but Zoom seems to be the one that we're using the most. So as I mentioned earlier, we are open, and we have social distancing here at the Albany Institute, and people need to wear their masks when they come in. And we have gotten wonderful comments from people talking about how wonderful it is to be back in museums, looking at artwork, doing things safely with their families and friends. Of course, the social distancing to be expected. The other project that has been very helpful are the art kits. Sarah Clough, who is a director of art programs, has really spent a lot of time coming up with very creative art kits that people can pick up. They're free to people, and they are based on things on the collections here at the Albany Institute. So these are bags filled with not only the instructions, but the materials that everybody needs to make the art projects. So that has also been very popular. There's some other good, something related to this pandemic. The idea, there are some things that we've had to, shift and do. And I'm happy to say that one of our most popular exhibits is Ancient Egypt. And we have more school groups come to see Ancient Egypt than any other exhibit here. And one of the centerpieces of the exhibition is a cat goddess named Sekhmet. And she was all ready to go back to Berkeley, California in May, but because of travel restrictions and everything else, she is going to be with us for another year, which is very, very exciting. So that we're able to keep her, because she's a key component of our Egyptian exhibition. So I'm not sure if anybody has started with their meals. I hope so, and we're getting ready to break into the dining rooms, which I hope some of you are going to be able to join us. So I'm just going to right now thank everybody for coming again, and thank you for joining us for the program, cocktails, and for those of you who are moving on to dinner or you're staying with us, thank you. Good night. Great. Well, I hope everybody had a wonderful time for the evening and for our programming with all of the videos, and with Michael Tucker welcoming everybody and telling you all a little bit about what we do here at the Albany Institute, followed by the videos, our honorees. We are so pleased to be able to honor Peter and Rosemarie Tenike and Amy Coley. And I have to say, I had a wonderful time in our cocktail rooms. Great conversation, great discussion, and we also appreciated having dinner with all of you as well. So it was a first time for all of us, and thank you for your patience. We've had great comments about you can hear us. It's not too crowded, it's not too loud, and everything went really well. So we have a whole team here supporting us. But again, thank you very much for your support. It was a wonderful, artful evening, combining the gala and work of art. So I hope you enjoy your holidays coming up, and we hope to see you at the museum soon. Thank you. Good night.